on, babies.
Lauran.
I bet you $20
Oh, you were on. Oh, cool background.
I like that. Oh,
Yeah, that's cool.
There we go.
There we are. Hello.
And that, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good.
Good. We're complimenting your screensaver.
Oh, right. Isn't that really cool?
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
I don't know where I got it.
So, yeah,
That's even the best. That's even the best when you don't know where you got it from.
I was just about to give you credit for that. All right, so welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show with our conversation with Lauran Star, strategist, psychologist, speaker on diversity, inclusion, and equity, also best-selling author, and a veteran.
And a veteran, yes.
You checked every single box off, pretty much.
Right, and I have 2 disabilities. Look at that. I'm like a hat trick.
There you go. Well, this is the simple.
Hey.
She's already got a sports pun in there, so that was gonna. My next question was going to be a sports fan.
Sports fan.
Okay, so
of
yes,
the Boston area.
Now we're talking the same language.
There we go.
Now the boxes are checked, and I can ask the hard-hitting questions I was looking to ask.
Yes, I'm a Bruins and Patriots and Celtics fan. That was the hard question, right?
And we don't have to talk about the Red Sox.
Perfect.
This is great.
Perfect.
I'm not a baseball girl, but of course I always root for the Red Sox.
That's okay. You don't have to right now. They don't deserve it.
Yeah, it was a rough year.
It's gonna be worse.
Yes. Well, look, we want to obviously get into everything that you're doing and in the crux of it all. But my very first question was: is Star your real last name?
Star is actually my middle name.
Got it. Wait, is it your real middle name?
It's my real middle name. I was like, the Lauran is a Navy radar system. So I was named after a Navy radar system, the Lauran. And Star is my middle name because my mom said, as she was giving birth, there were all these beautiful stars out in the hospital. And I'm like, I want those drugs. When I was
say, she got the good stuff.
I did not get those drugs. I'll just be honest with you. No.
This is always beautiful. She's in a field? No, she was inside.
Exactly. I'm like, Mom, you were in the OR. I'm a C-section. Hello.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
She was like, there were so many stars. I just have to call you Lauran Star. I'm like, okay.
Well, Lauran's a cool name too, and I'm glad I got that right. And Ray, write that down too. You owe me a little bit of money.
Yeah,
I'm sure many people have mispronounced that. So, well, that's awesome. So that's all on par. So that's great. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's go dive over give it to Ray for the real hard hitting stuff, and we'll get it rolling.
Okay.
So, what made you so passionate about diversity and equity? Was there an event in your life that just made you go down this route?
I think honestly, the military. Yeah. Right. I was in the Army at a very young age, at the ripe age of 19. They have forced inclusion. Where your battle buddy, as we call them, and if your listeners were ever in the military, I'm sure they're giggling about that because that's what we call them in basic training. Oh, you got to know your battle buddy. Your battle buddy, I couldn't sit back and go, I'm sorry, I want a white female as my battle buddy. You got what you get, and that's it. And you have to be able to rely on them to literally save your kista.
Mm-hmm. You can swear if you want.
Oh, good. Save your ass. Because it's life and death, right? Yeah. I need to know and trust that my battle buddy, I need to know where their strengths and their areas of weakness are. Hopefully shooting and throwing hand grenades isn't one of their areas of weakness, but you have to know that. And I was a trauma medic. So I was out in the field. I wasn't in an office. So even more so, that forced inclusion, it really didn't matter who I was paired up with. I knew they had my best interest at heart, male or female. I was with the 110 Cav for quite a while, a lot of my missions where I would be the only female. And I was never disrespected. I was treated the same as everybody else. And in that inclusion, when it came to picking up a stretcher of somebody that weighed maybe 270, the guys would just jump in and pick up, right? We played to each other's strengths. So they would just jump right in and lift the stretcher. And they knew that it was going to be too much weight for me. Not a big deal, Rand. We got you because you're doing the friggin' CPR. You're putting our guy back together. So you just tell us what you need us to do. So really, it was that forced inclusion. Then I came out into the workplace. And honestly, the first thing I heard was glass ceiling. And I just, it stupefied me. So what the hell is a glass ceiling? What do you, right? Like, oh, we can't get ahead. And I'm like, that glass ceiling sounds an awful lot like a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't get ahead, freaking move, leave the company. You're the value. But it seemed like, and this is back in because I'm a little older than you gentlemen. Not by much, though.
No, not by much.
I was going to say like a year or two, maybe.
Right. Maybe it does. But this goes back to, 1990, 1996, when I was in the workforce, when I jumped into the workforce. Right at the time, too, we were starting to see these initiatives come out that we want to hire more people of color, although we didn't call them POCs then, right? We called them Black people.
Yeah.
Right. Like the language is just more.
Sure.
And as a leader, as I advanced and as a leader, actually hearing that I had to strategically go out and hire marginalized groups, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, why aren't we hiring them already? First off, let's get rid of this dirty word marginalization, and let's just hire the best of the best, and that will give us our diversity.
Right.
So that really is what kind of propelled me in this. And then 2007, I had a frank call. I had my own consulting firm, and I had a conversation with a CEO, and he called me out on it. He's like, you were in the wrong space. You're doing leadership, you're doing management, which is great, but you have a mindset and a mouth for DE&I.
Yeah.
And right out of the gate, I didn't realize that my framework was already in place thanks to Uncle Sam.
Yeah, that's interesting that it took an outside perspective to kind of rattle you into that place, which generally it does, right? It's very rare that you just kind of line yourself up to do what you want to do.
So from there I was like, well, I gotta go back to school because I don't know squat about laws and perspectives, and then when I dove into school, I'm like, whoa, we have major league effed this up in the workplace. Right, we really have, like, this whole spin that we need to be hiring diverse candidates, which I'm all for, don't get me wrong here, but if you don't have an inclusive organization, you don't have squat. You're just creating a revolving door. Imagine if the Patriots said, you know what, from now on, we're going to put women on the field and let's see if we get to the Super Bowl. Now, ladies, if you're listening in, let's be realistic here, right? I take a hit by somebody that's, 290, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't worry, we'll beep that for the women listeners who get offended.
Right? Like, you don't want me playing football. You don't.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation that can go a lot of different ways, and my question was going to be about your business and how, like, is it booming now or is it more difficult now in the completely polarized? I don't even think the world's polarized. It's just we're just fractured, in our political and ecological and in every different way that you can think of. Any different way someone wants to get offended by something you say, they can, and someone will be there to support them online. So has that affected what you do in the workplace, or how you've had to present
it has, in the sense that prior to 2020 business was booming, and I would have to go in and fix a lot of mistakes. I'd get these calls and then I'd walk in, I'd be like, well, your culture's a shit show. So right, like I can't attract new talent for you if we don't fix that first and foremost, right? It just started reaffirming what I already knew.
Yeah.
And then I also went on to get my PhD, because if I'm going to tell you what to do in the direct manner,
yeah, you want some background.
then I want to make sure that, when you come back at me and say you don't know what you're talking about, I say, really?
Yeah.
Who's the doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's important. Like,
But it's
people want
important
that
to have
credibility
that.
to go with it.
And
But
I
you
just,
also have to have the actionable items. Like, there's a lot of people that just think because they have a degree or because they say they have a point of authority that you think that they should. Well, you still got to prove it. You've got to prove it too, right?
You still got to prove it. I think what I found interesting in my consulting days is how screwed up corporate America has DE&I. Right from that consulting lens, everybody, DE&I, they think is one thing. And I'm like, those are three entirely different issues. They're three entirely different targets with three entirely different programs and initiatives, and have three entirely different goals and measurements. No, they're not. Yes, they are. And often what people think diversity is actually inclusion or equity, right? So there was this need for level setting. In 2020, everything changed. We started to see this shift. Really, we started to see the shift with the passing of George Floyd, where organizations suddenly went, we don't want a consultant. We want somebody in-house, permanent, that's going to drive this. So fortunately, I had a buyer from my consulting firm, passed it off. Perfect timing. It was all well strategically planned out. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You're right. Sometimes you're better to be lucky than good. And yeah, so at that point that's when I went in-house with the company that I'm currently working with. I head up their DE&I. It is not lip service here. I mean, we are doing it. We are doing it right, because if we're not doing it right, then I make all kinds of noise, and that's good. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So from that business lens, now I'm inside, although I do a decent amount of call outs, right? Like, I do connect with a lot of people, and we have these brainstorming conversations, and it's amazing, right? That we want 3% POC or BIPOC. We want, it's nice to want. I want $1 million.
Yeah.
But it all goes back to, what is your culture? What is your culture? And we're seeing, right, the NHL, there's not enough diversity. I love it when I see articles in sports that talk about DE&I, and I'm like, whoa, they have inclusion on the field.
Yeah.
Right. If the unit doesn't work as a team, it falls apart. You aren't going to the cup. You're not going to the Stanley Cup.
So what's your thoughts on the Rooney Rule? Do you know what the Rooney Rule is in NFL?
Repeat it for us, so everybody's on the same
Rooney
page.
Rule is basically if you're going out for a coaching candidate, you have to interview at least one minority. So is that something that you are happy with that the NFL does, or is that something you're just checking a box?
And just a little bit more background on that, it's failed miserably.
It's failed miserably. I was just going to say, and it's failed miserably. Yes. So yay, let's check the box for affirmative action. Woo! Yeah. Am I a fan of that? No, I'm not a fan of the Rooney Rule. What I am a fan of, right, is accountability in your ability to promote yourself well.
Yeah.
Right, because you can throw okay, we need to have diversity. So if we're hired, if we're looking for a head coach and we've got 6 people and we need to make sure that 3 of them are diverse, are they still the top candidate?
Yeah.
We cannot give up quality for an affinity. Right. We're a capitalistic country. I hear this all the time. I'm like, we're in a capitalistic country. I'm going to hire the most talented. And if they happen to be diverse, lucky me.
Yeah, that's even better.
But I'm still strategic about it. So, right, it's not just throwing it at the wall. It's sitting back and going, however, if I have a strong, inclusive team and I have a strong, inclusive back office, trust me, those highly skilled, diverse candidates will come to you, because that's where they want to work.
Yeah. So to take it back to the NHL real quickly, and their clear lack of diversity, I guess that this would be a different a different vertical in terms of why. right? Why is there you're not really talking about the why. You're talking about, well, let's talk about the people that are coming into this and not create a whole subcategory just so there's a subcategory. But there is this other thing. This goes for business and all kinds of aspects of, well, why is there less from a diverse field coming in for these types of positions, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys get into that at all?
Yeah, that's called exposure.
Yeah.
If someone is not exposed to skating, they're never going to play hockey.
Right.
They're never going to get really good at hockey. Right? If they're not exposed to skating at a young age. And right, I'm trying not to pick on hockey, but I'm gonna. What the heck? Why not?
Yeah, sure. Right? They're tough. They can take it. They're hockey players.
Yeah, they're hockey. You're tough. Suck it up. It's so freaking hard. It's so expensive.
Yep.
So I sit back and hockey players are mostly white. Well, not for nothing, but white people own the wealth in this country. And it's expensive as hell to pick up hockey skates. My son's best friend is a hockey player with the Sharks, Logan Plant. Woo woo! And his family went without, so he could play hockey. We're talking $10,000 to $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
For him to learn how to skate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're an inner city kid from Dorchester,
way in hell you're going to be able to pay for that.
Right there, you're not going to be able to pay for it, right? That's that socioeconomic. So yeah, if we want diversity in our athletes, then we better not look at the organizations, but look at the United States infrastructure and ensure that everyone has equal opportunity and access to all of these curriculums.
Right. Yeah. Now we're going down the road of socioeconomical and major differences that,
Yeah.
I guess the question is, can it work? This is the affirmative action question. Can it work in the reverse style if done correctly? And I think you would say probably not, in terms of, well, there's not equal. Things are not equal in this country. Yep. So let's create these programs that make organizations try to be a little bit more equal. And I think some would say, like, the Rooney Rule created some opportunities for some people, but that now it's just become more of a frankly corrupt.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways. And affirmative action, a lot of people would agree, went the same way. So it's like most things, it's like an organism, right? Like you have to continue to be evolving it and moving it and building it. I don't think there's a question in there. I was just reflecting off of what we're just saying.
I think when we look at, I'm because it's a sports show, so I'm really going to focus in on sports here because I'm your sports girl.
You got it.
But when we're looking at sports, if I am betting on the Patriots or the Bruins or the Celtics.
Why are you laughing about betting on the Patriots? Just because there's no way in hell they're winning tonight? Is that...
No, betting. I was like, wow, we're even going to go into betting. Now I'm going to start sharing that I also drink.
Oh, well, cheers.
Cheers. Nice. But if
it's a New England sports show.
It is, right? But I want my team to freaking win. I don't care what the affinities are on the field.
Right.
As a spectator, I'm the consumer here. It's not like buying lipstick.
Right.
I'm your consumer. And the Patriots, I would hope, or they get or we see an upheaval. We certainly saw it in Dallas with the Dallas Cowboys, right, where they were trying to focus in on DE&I and trying to focus on getting the best and the best. And the Cowboys are just, that's a whole nother show and a friggin' bottle of vodka. But like, I want, and as a fan, as the consumer, I want the best of the best. Oops, my camera went a little cray there.
You got a little automatic focus going on. Oh, that's okay.
There we go. We got that thing again.
But yeah, we want to bring in the most talented. And I think we also have to recognize, right? Like, let's go back to the NHL, right? Well, what does the minority base look like of highly talented skaters?
French Canadians.
Right? Yeah. Bring in the Canadians.
French Canadians. Yep.
Yeah. If you
slightly darker tone.
I can't endorse, putting people of color on skates that are not at the same level as those around them, because then that's tokenism, right? Now I'm starting to question, oh, that guy's on the ice and right, he's not a very good skater. They must have brought him in for that reason. And that's crappy.
Right.
That is the wrong mindset.
Right. Look, the Patriots could have drafted some staunchy white kid from Ohio to play tight end, but Aaron Hernandez was on the board. So you're not going to turn away from that kind of talent.
Check.
Right.
You got to bring it in and see what happens. Now that one's going to go their way, but a lot of them have.
Yeah. You got to bring it in and shake it up. And yeah, that's, look at our quarterbacks, right? There's very little diversity in the Patriots quarterbacks. They're all white guys.
Mostly.
But God damn it, they handsome.
They are
handsome white
and
guys.
they can throw a ball.
Yes.
they can sling the pigskin. We're gonna keep it in the sports world. I had a question for you, and I don't know how familiar you are with this scandal going on down there at Causeway and the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Ime Udoka, the head coach, was let go earlier this offseason for some adultery, I guess you would call it, on both ways. Have you ever been in those type of, would that be considered a shit show of a organization that you would walk into? How do you handle, is that something you would touch on? So this is a man of color that was given a position of power in a extremely profitable big league in the NBA, and made it to the NBA finals, big headlines. And there are differing sides of opinion here. He screwed around with some people's wives in the organization, and the team had to let him go, basically, or they suspended him. But people, they're supporting him because he is a person of color in a very important position of power, which there are not many of.
And I agree, there aren't that many of them. But just because you have an affinity of a different skin tone doesn't mean you're forgiven for adultery. And when you look at, professional sports, they're role models, whether they want that role or not. Players, coaches are role models because they are in mass media.
Right.
So there is that morality clause in all of their contracts. And unfortunately, adultery is a ding on the morality clause. If he was white, he would have been terminated. And I think it's unfortunate, but if you can't keep it in your pants, dude, don't bitch about being let go.
Yeah. And to be fair, he hasn't bitched, but some people have bitched for him. Yeah. So we'll give him the credit. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Yeah. And he'll rebound. Give him 2 years for the dust to settle down. You'll see him pop back up.
Oh yeah, no.
Unless she's pregnant, then that's not going to be good.
I don't know. Look what's happening in Georgia with Walker there, right? Herschel Walker. I mean,
yeah, whoa. We'll beep that. Don't worry.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think there's that. Yeah, there is the morality clause, and unfortunately, right, when you go into an organization or you go in and play professional sports, there is business acumen that you must have. There is professional business standards, and sports are no different. Now, I don't have a morality clause where I work. Okay, well, I'm not really in the public eye.
Right.
But think about this, right? If I was an adulterer, just as an author, that's going to hit me.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got somebody that's really in the public eye. And I have, I could be like, well, I'm a woman and I have a disability and I'm a veteran. So let's just forget about it. Doesn't work that way.
When you paused for that brief moment, I actually thought you were going to go down that road. Like, I did do it, but yeah, it's not in the. That's where I were going with that. I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Right. We open it up. Maybe there is the bottle of vodka might be open off screen. We're not sure.
Exactly. That's the next show. Confessions of Sin.
There you go. Speaking of sin, are you aware of Kyrie Irving? Never mind. Well, we can go to somebody else. We can do something other than. I just have an affinity for hating on.
I have something for you. The women's soccer team, the national soccer team, great team. But the big issue there is the pay.
Mhm.
Obviously, the men aren't as good as the women. The women are winning national championships, World Cups, blah, blah, blah. You list all their accolades, but yet they're not getting paid enough. Is that something that you look at, and how would you fix like something like that?
Yeah, that's not a simple answer, although I will say there's now equity being brought to the table where they're splitting the winnings.
Yes, after the U.S. just went to the knockout round, they
So,
got money for
so
it. So,
we're starting.
How do you
to
feel
see
about that, Ray?
I'm very happy that the women are getting their fair share, since they are the better team out of the men and women.
They've had a lot of
they're
success.
amazing.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a bigger fix. When I look at the numbers, right? When I put my business hat on, I look at the numbers. I'm like, of course the men are going to get paid more. They pull more audience, right? They pull more marketing dollars than the women do.
Mm-hmm.
Although with women's soccer now, we're going to see that go away. We're going to, what's going to happen when women's soccer, and this is interesting, and this is what I'm forecasting, my friends, is that in another 5 years, women's soccer will be more popular than men's soccer, and the pot will be bigger. What happens then? Do we then split, right? Do we continue to split the pot?
Or do they say, no, we don't want to, and we're the moneymaker?
Well, they can't now because, right, the minute they say we don't want to split the pot, you're going to hear me go, whoa, whoa, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other example in the news lately has been the WNBA, players wanting more money for a organization that hasn't been profitable in 26 years, which is an interesting concept. The women's national team, though, is a unique case because they were drawing more attendance than the men because the men failed to make the World Cup, and they were a more popular team for I don't know, close to a decade, if we're being frank, and we'll see if that continues to move forward. So I think that that helped their case.
Absolutely, right. But the marketing dollars are different. There's a huge difference in those marketing dollars,
for sure.
So somewhere along the way, whomever is handling those marketing dollars just kind of lost their way, and they weren't right. Those marketing dollars should have gone up so that their salary went up.
Right.
I'm not in favor of just throwing money at people. However, when you're skilled, you're winning, you're drawing the audience, then there's got to be that payoff.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's got to be that payoff.
Is there a dream company that you'd be like, oh my God, I want to go there and just fix everything that's going on right now?
Like Kanye West Inc.
Yeah, just shoot me in the head.
What if Kanye called you and said, I will give you whatever you want. I'll let you have as many zeros in your check as you want. Just come
fix me. Fix me.
Right. I'd be like, I'm sorry, Kanye. There's not enough money in the world to fix you.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
like, he called me Yee.
He called you Yee?
No, he expects to be called Yee now. Probably Mr.
Is that Yee? Right there, right? I think I'm an inclusion psychologist, not a mental psychologist, and
got it.
He needs a little more work there. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel about Kanye. And you know what? I hope he hates me like he hates Taylor. I'm all over it. Right?
Who can hate Taylor Swift? How dare he?
Hate is gonna hate.
Right? She's clean. She's honest. She's
fabulous.
Yeah. Now, ticket prices, that's
another story that we can get into on another podcast.
Yeah. But now let's see, a company that I'd love to.
Ticketmaster.
Oh, Ticketmaster.
Get in there and take them down.
Yeah, exactly. Ticketmaster needs to be Live Nation. Ticketmaster needs to be broken apart into multiple companies. That's clearly a monopoly. And this resale bull crap is bull crap.
Yeah, that's just subsidiaries.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, let's just put it on the table here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Look, you get inclusion, you get ticketing advice. It's like the whole ball of wax with me.
We're doing it so the aftermarket people are getting penalized. Bullshit. You're trying to make money. What you're doing.
Not trying. R.
Yeah, R. Sorry.
R, because they take a percentage of the resale ticket.
Yeah. They're making hand over fist.
They're making hand over fist. My daughters just went to a concert, Alex Benjamin in Boston, smaller artist. And the tickets were $25. So smaller look.
Very nice.
$25.
Great.
$35 in fees. Like the fees are more expensive than the ticket price.
Well, it's insurance.
And the artist got a 1% of it all.
Yeah.
of the $25. So
yeah, he's up there going, throw quarters at me, please.
Right. Yeah, he's got a tip jar on
on stage
at TD Garden.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, did any? I have one more question. I don't know if you had a dream company that.
I will say dream companies. I'm really big in technology. I like technology a lot. So it would have to be a technology company.
Twitter.
Apple.
You and Elon fix it.
That's a good one. Which would you rather work with, Elon or Kanye?
Elon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Twitter's actually not a bad one. I mean, that's like starting from scratch. You got some dough to work with. You are talking to the world every second of the day. Okay. Here's my last here's the last question that we want to know, where to find you, the benefits that we can have from you, and that we have your website and everything else we'll push forward. But what's the so you do a lot of obviously live speaking and performances. Do you got any secret sauce? Do you got any juice? Is there like a one-liner or a hitter or a piece of information or a joke or anything that you're like, I know when I bring this out,
like the crowd's not feeling it, and you're like,
they respond, I got them.
Like, if they're not like, if my audience isn't feeling it, you know what? You're either gonna like me or you're gonna hate me, and that's okay. I don't care.
Just drop the mic and flip them off.
Right? No, I don't. But I want you to at least be open to hearing what I'm saying about DE&I.
Yeah.
And down the road, when it resonates with you, that's when you shoot me an email. Like, that's it. And that usually pulls my audience back in. Look, DE&I is not a flashy topic. When I say, I talk about diversity, I can see people glaze over.
Ooh. Just probably get the,
I go to a conference and I'm like, I'm your, DE&I speaker. I have to work almost twice as hard as other speakers getting people to attend my sessions. Like, I go early and I network and meet people the whole time so they get a feel for me as a presenter and my messaging, that this isn't a typical DE&I talk. This isn't a check the box. Trust me, you are going to come out enlightened with something. I'm going to say something that you're going to go, huh? And you got to come. You got to come and see. It's like the book, right? I wrote a book on diversity. We're not talking, eventually it'll be a bestseller, I hope. But
yeah,
Richard, when you go into the store and if you see a book, you see my book sitting on the shelf, you'd be like, all right, whatever, keep walking. Now,
there's not a sword on it, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, but right now.
Or if you had that screensaver as your book cover,
now we might be talking.
Now we're talking. You know what? I'm going to put that in my marketing strategy. Use screensaver more.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Diversity, the word scares people now.
It does. Well, why wouldn't it?
Yeah, they don't want to be wrangled into a conversation where they think they could say something and it gets them in trouble.
Well,
and
you've been beaten over the head. I mean, my own son, he's a sophomore at Western New England University, right? He's an engineering student, mechatronic engineering. And he's like, diversity is fake work, Mom.
Ooh.
And I'm like, dude,
wow.
No, it's not. And he's like, yeah, it is. He's like, because all I know about diversity is it goes against me. That's where we are in this country right now.
Yeah, that's not that's not an uncommon sentiment from especially that part of the world where where we're from and where I grew up. And I know a lot of my father was a construction worker, and I know that sentiment really started to settle in. And politically, I think you've seen the repercussions of that over the past several elections, and we've got to not to go down that road or open up a new rabbit hole. It was I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. So
right, because the majority of diversity training is all about blaming.
Yeah. Right.
And it really, like, I'm like, but I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but recognize that I also do inclusion work, and that's the counterpoint. And you know what? And it's all evidence-based. So the work that I do has data that backs it up, which there's not a lot of us out here that actually can state that.
Yeah. No, it's important.
And it's all in my book, which you all should go out and buy.
There you go. Beautiful segue. I'm going to throw it right. Keep
choice.
going. It's all you. Go tell us exactly where to get it, what it's called, and the floor is yours.
Oh, she has it. She has it. Look
there
at
you
this.
go. Woohoo! So it's called Evidence-Based Inclusion, focusing on the right needle. The book really does take you through diversity, and it's written like I speak. So this is not a dry book. I even had to fight with my editor on some of the words that I put in here. She's like, you can't say that. I'm like, I can't.
People don't respond to fuck very well.
Oh, I loved it. See, they don't. But the first section of the book, the first 2 chapters, really just, I level set what diversity is in this country right now. And it's based on research, right? Diversity is a measurement. That's it, my friends. It's a measurement of affinities. That's it. And the only goal of diversity is diverse perspectives and thoughts in the workplace. That's it. The business case for diversity has to be made through inclusion. So then you're right. So then the book takes you into inclusion and what is inclusion. And I attack affirmative action. I hit on so many different topics where I'm like, recognize this, right? We talk about the word equity. Equity is a legal term in the workplace. I even wrap up the book saying, hey, just as a teaser, the next book to this is to be or not to be, equity versus equality in the workplace. I'm going there, right? Because I have yet to find solid studies that show the benefit, the business case. So, it's a fun book. You can get it on Amazon. You can find it in the bookstore. You can find it on Amazon. As always, wherever you purchase, please, give me 5 stars, make some comment that you love me, because that's how we increase sales. Right. And you can also go to my website, and that's just drlauranstar.com. Everything is there.
Awesome. Well, we'll put that right on the bottom of this when it releases. So, Lauran, this was fun.
This was fun.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Glad we got a sports fan in addition to a doctor.
Exactly.
And we
New England sports fan.
New England. We
raised our level of intelligence on the show for once, so that was good.
That's always nice. That's always nice.
Ray's like, did I? I'm not sure.
Probably not.
No. Well, Ray's baseline, we call him the bottom of the totem pole of dumb. So there's only one way to go, but up.
Yeah. So I definitely got up.
Yeah, no, he improved today.
I love it.
Lauran, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, and good luck with the book. Yes, and keep going. We appreciate it.
Same here. I'm looking forward.
All right, we'll let you know when it comes out.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Lauran Star, actual name.
I'm Venmoing you now.
Yep, you can send me that money anytime you want, Ray. This has been our conversation with Lauran Star. Check out her book and her website. It'll all be right underneath us and right there and in the comment section. So, bye-bye. To be fair, that's how I do everything.
Oh, of course. You're a procrastinator.
Yeah. Well, I work well with my back against the wall.
Or sometimes your penis against the wall with your butts exposed. And those assless chaps. See, is that sexual harassment? Is that, that being discriminative to you because you're a nice piece of ace?
We can ask.
Okay. What's the line? Bill's crossed the line several times. What is the line?
No, your professional opinion. Could you draw us the line?
Where is it over the line when I bring this mother joke up?
That doesn't seem fair. Allow us to give you some examples.
When I said a turkey should be substituted with Rich's mother's ass, is that over the line? Is that the line? or is that just run on the cups?
When I referred to my co-host's mother's ass as a substitute protein, is that
over the line? No? Okay. What's your thought on AIDS jokes?